Could it be that our ministers are growing a backbone? Well, I'm not really sure, but it seems like the rhetoric is changing when it comes to the European Union. Jacob Rees-Mogg was on LBC and he directly blamed the European Union over the issues with fisheries, which is absolutely true because the agreement that we made with them, and especially with Macron being a crybaby and causing trouble with his fishermen, sending them to our waters, that continues. No one's talking about it. Not many people in the media are talking about this because there's a lot of other issues to talk about apparently at this point. But Jacob Rees-Mogg was questioned by one of the callers saying, well, you Brexiteers promised us that things will be different. Why is it that you broke your promises? It's semi-true, but not the way that they are talking about this.
We were told if we exited the EU, we would have lower energy prices, cut in VAT and cheaper food. You lied to us. And in the times that we're in, why hasn't this happened?
Well, the point about the energy crisis, cost of living, overall taxation, technically she's right, but the Brexit has never promised that by default things will be cheaper. The whole point of Brexit is that you leave the European Union, so it will be up to you, your sovereign parliament and your own country and government to decide. You could vote for a Jeremy Corbyn sort of type government, and you have high taxes. You could vote for, well, Boris Johnson's government, and you have high taxes as well. But it depends on what we want as a country. That's the whole point. Right now, yes, things are not going well because the government have their own excuses. But you can now have the power to vote for any vision and any direction that you want. But in terms of the situation with VAT, but also tariffs, Jacob Rees-Mogg had the right answer.
These are two different things. That one is the costs that we impose on countries we import from. And with the trade deals that we are doing, and particularly important with Australia and New Zealand, we are taking tariffs off food, footwear and clothing. And the more free trade deals we do, the more tariffs will be removed. And more importantly, actually, because they have a big cost in terms of the flexibility of markets, the more non-tariff barriers will be removed.
And that's the biggest thing that I've been wanting for the Brexiteers in government to talk about. And it took them, how many years now to actually finally be honest and sell this argument in a much more effective way. Yes, if, for example, Macron and the EU try to put tariffs on us as punishment for the Northern Ireland Protocol or the fisheries, then we are, on the other hand, we're balancing it up by having trade deals with New Zealand, with Australia, and with many others at the same time. But when it comes to overall trade, not just fisheries, Jacob Rees-Mogg said the EU regulations have always been a form of protectionism, that the UK industry is not fundamentally less safe than it was before we left the European Union. But that is spot on. Why can't we hear this more often? And also, I don't really just want to hear it. I don't care about rhetoric. I care about action. Are we going to see anything? Because right now, the whole of the media and press has been dominated by the other side, by the rejoiners, who are coming up with new Project Fear 3.0. So, apparently, swine fever is coming if UK waives checks on imports from the European Union. This is according to left-wing vets, basically, political Ramona vets. So this is basically, do you remember when David Cameron was saying that if you vote to leave the European Union, there will be an international conflict. The whole world is going to end and all that. Now, waive the checks and swine fever will come in because that's what we need. After the last 2-3 years that we've had, we need another Project Fear on some sort of fever. And then we have this one, how Brexit axed abortion access for Europe's most marginalized. Really? On what basis? Do you just randomly say things without understanding how the healthcare system works in this country? When it comes to the state-controlled healthcare system, the NHS, well, everybody has access. You can still, from Europe, European citizens, you can access it, but you have to pay for it. That's how it should be. Because you have to contribute, using your taxation system to actually pay for it. If you can't, if you're a tourist or whatever you are, you have to pay for it. And some people are talking about the private clinics. Private clinics, I don't care about that. It's up to you. You're a citizen. You're coming to this country. It's between you and the private business, the private healthcare clinics. And in terms of the visa access to the European citizens, UK is not the only place that you could get service. You could stay in your own country. You could go next door. If you're from Germany, you could go to France. They have a good system, healthcare system. So do not allow the Ramonas to control the narrative, and it's time for us to finally fight back, because right now we're not really hearing much apart from Jacob Rees-Mogg going on LBC, who's been not really perfect until recently. We don't really have much voice in the media, but we're going to talk about this on this channel because why? We are the media.